I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. A special call virtual and in-house board meeting. In front of you, you have the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that the agenda be adopted. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. Is there an exception to approve?
I make a motion that we accept the special call board meeting notice, sending questions for it was posted within the required time.
Yes, sir.
Here's our policy and the state law. I make a motion that we accept the notion of special call board meeting as part of our minutes for this meeting.
There's a motion to approve it. Is there a second? It's been moved and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. At this time, we'll have a proposed consent agenda. Are there any items to add or delete?
I'd like to pull B2.
B2. B2 is full. Do we have any other? If not, is there a motion to accept all items of the proposed consent agenda except B2?
I'll make a motion that we accept consent agenda with the exception of B2.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we approve the consent agenda except for B2. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Mr. President,
I'm sorry.
now now what was that again? On what
B1
B1.
is what you're voting
B1,
on.
B2. C is not the consent.
Okay,
Yep.
second.
It's been moved and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. By the way, let me just say this before we get to you, Mr. Pratt. We have Mr. Slayton on with us here. He's the virtual guru. Actually, Brian is, but Mr. Slayton is taking your place right now, Brian. So it's Mr. Slayton, Mr. Pratt, Coach Stevens, Attorney Hobson is with us. And so we just want to let you know that we have who we have here with us. So at this time, Mr. Pratt, you have the floor for B2, sir.
Yes, so the network installation and maintenance agreement, can someone give me a little more history on what we're getting? Because I haven't seen this before now, so.
Okay, so
That's you, Wade.
basically what we've got is a support agreement with a company called Microsystems that's been in place for a couple of years. And basically, we were told that we needed to get Mr. Shealy to get the board to approve it, to update it. There was some redactions that Mr. Hobson felt were necessary, and so we removed those and updated it. This is basically for additional support of our network infrastructure, our Active Directory infrastructure, and everything in between. This company supplies us with a full-time technician that helps with a lot of the desktops, the Windows desktops, the Windows servers, and then our a network engineer that basically maintains our entire network.
Okay, so what I'm looking for, and maybe this is here, is it's kind of, there doesn't seem to be a lot of deliverables other than you're saying it's a body, right? There's
Two
no
bodies.
Two bodies, okay. So if we're unhappy with the service, there's no quantifiable product or other than the body just being here that they're delivering. So I guess my question is, if we're not happy with the service, what's our out?
We have I believe it's a 30-day out that's in there. We can-
Did y'all see it? I didn't see it.
Oh, I'm not gonna, Mr. Pratt, I have not read it.
It should be in there.
Client may terminate within 30 days, okay?
Yep, 30 days.
Mr. Satisfied with?
Okay. Is this not, and because this is services, this is not something by state law that we're required to bid out?
He,
Did we Did we look to get anyone else provide this service?
Not at this time, but we will be, bidding this out next year.
Have anything else, sir? What would you like to do with B2? Or anybody?
I'll make a motion to approve this, but I think we need to look at, getting some competitive bids on this type.
Sure, and he was, he spoke with Ms. Burke.
Yeah.
May I ask a question? Guys?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Is this the agreement, I don't have it in front of me, obviously,
Yes,
because I'm on the road, but is this the agreement that I reviewed and made a bunch of changes to?
Yes.
Yes.
Questions on?
Yes.
that's all all those are, all those changes are made.
Okay, all right. I have to take the final product, and I trust that they were made, and everything was in place.
Tell them that's not the
It's and the contractor has signed the addendum
In addition to
in
the
addition to
changes.
that. Did you hear that, Briggs?
Do we agree?
I did, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion we approve, but I would recommend that we don't wait a year, that we look at the opportunities for, truly bidding this work out. I assume that our out is if we decide we find services, at a more reasonable rate, that we don't have to have cause to terminate. Briggs, can you answer that? Do we have to have cause to terminate?
But without looking at the document, I can't say, I don't have it in front of me, and so, I believe, I look at so many documents, I don't wanna say I've got the right one, but I believe that that language in it, that would, provide them an opportunity to correct the problem. I believe that's this one, but if they didn't correct it in so many days, then we can terminate it. But I don't wanna, I'm looking, probably does over the last few weeks for both school districts, so don't let me say I know it for sure. I'm happy to review it when I get back to office if I need to, but I mean, that's y'all would take me for a week.
Why don't we approve it? I mean, it doesn't have, it says here that we have to allow the party written notice of breach and allow them to opportunity to cure the breach. So basically, if we agree to this, we're going to do it for a year.
Well, if you want to table it until you get the answers, I don't have any issue with that.
How quickly do you need the vendor?
Well, I
there
think
to
we're
work?
behind the eight ball on this one anyway.
Attorney says, how quickly do you need this?
We definitely need it at the very latest by the next board meeting.
Oh, yeah.
He says,
Good time.
he says by at least the next board meeting, Mr. Attorney.
Okay, well, it's up to you. If they made all the changes that I had on there, and they also signed the addendum, if you can't tell by looking at the document, that what the termination clause is, I can review it when I get back, but but if you can tell by the language, or if you wanna read it to me, I'll be happy to, make my comments or opine on what I think it's saying.
Why not,
Mildly concerned about it, and I mean, I assume this is the same we've been under for the longest time, is there's a lot of things in here that really protect them and not a lot that us. There's not a lot of deliverables, so how do you measure, when you have someone clean a room, if the room that it cleaned, you measure the room that you clean.
Understand?
There's not a lot of measurables, and there's a lot of requirements, like we can't hire their person, we have to allow them to terminate, to remediate. So they can do a bad job and then, not that they will, I'm just saying that they can do a bad job and then, they still get to fix it.
Well, if it needs more work, it needs more work. And I mean, if we can get that done before the next board meeting, I don't have an issue with that at all.
I would rather take.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
Table.
You made the motion, sir, to table?
Me too.
second,
Been moved and properly second that we table B2. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. We're now down to C, in the reopening of schools. Let me say that, I will give, Mr. Shealy the floor, but we're hoping that we're probably gonna have to impede the start of school. So at this time, Mr. Shealy, I will give you the
Deb,
floor.
I have an agenda with none of the added document, never mind. My own shuffling got it out from under me. I sure don't need to start talking before I have it in front of me. All right, we have had some interesting developments, and when we set our original plan out, one of the things that we set up front is that if any of the requirements changed, or any adjustments in safety, or any of those things that we need to keep our kids most safe were not in place, then you would be hearing a recommendation from me to delay schools, and I believe that's where we're sitting. We actually have a list, and I had it in front of me, but I don't now. You don't have the, nope, I've got this. I need the dates for the arrivals. We had several, it's in my office, that's fine. We had several, I wanted to give you the dates for the gloves, thermometers, wipes, signage. Everything was set to be in place, delivered before the week of the last board meeting. And if you'll look at the very top, one of the things that we've had is this COVID has affected employment, not only from our custodial services, but also our ability to get even from Mike Smith, we use him for staffing solutions. So it's been very difficult to get employees due to the fact of the weekly payment. And so they have had, Mike said he's had virtually no employees. So in that stopped, and now all of a sudden everybody's coming to work, but there's processing that has to occur with that. So we've had, the cleaning has not been up to the standard to which we've needed individuals to be there. So we are asking that be a consideration for the delay. One of the considerations, we believe once our cleaning company gets the opportunity to get everybody hired, of course, they'll give us a level of cleaning based on the contract. And I'm not worried, but if you don't have people there that can get up some of the regular dirt, then the amount of cleaning that we want in place with the Clorox 360 wouldn't be there. So the other real issue, and we've got a lot of PPEs. We bought a lot of protective gear. And originally all those were due to be here. We got one that was left that was pushed to the 7th, which were our gloves. Now these were optional for our staff, but we still wanted all those to be in place. The ones that really concern us is, or there's a couple. One is the thermometers. The thermometers that we had, and we do have multiples on site at all buildings because we've been operating, sports, and anywhere we've had people, we've got, ours at central office, but we wanted to have the appropriate amount to execute each one of the school-wide plans. That order was about 34 more head touchless thermometers. And in that, we've been tracking this for a few weeks, and it's been a running process. We finally got feedback from Amazon today, even though we had a tracking number, and the company that we had talked with multiple times said it has been delivered, it is en route. When they tried to run it down this morning, Amazon said, well, that's not even a real route number, and we don't know where they are, so they canceled our order, which that was this morning. So in that, we had to try to run some of those down, and we have located a handful that we would have to piecemeal together, but it wouldn't quite complete that order. We do have an order that we are going to execute, and it is actually in Memphis, and they guarantee the delivery. They just won't guarantee the delivery by the time our kids come back. So that becomes a necessary delay. We also have, when we purchased all of our masks, and we have plenty of masks for everybody on site currently, but even in alignment with CDC, those recommendations for youth masks for our little kids, we put an order in. It was supposed to be delivered on the 23rd. They've actually pushed those back. And that the delivery date on the disposable ones are the day before. Students are currently scheduled to return, and the other ones are not until the 11th, which puts us in a bad situation from a process standpoint. We're not, I can't recommend that we keep the same schedule that we have due to the fact that some of those PPEs won't be here to protect us as needed. So inside that, you should see inside your packet and in the board packet, there is a bulleted item that I'm gonna kind of walk through. All of our construction projects are are scheduled to be completed, but anybody that deals with construction knows that there are always opportunities for things to run over, and we do have one deadline that's pushing up against the 6th also, so that is a concern. This other bullet, and I wanted to weigh in on this as a concern. I know that when we made our decisions, the 17th was kind of a drop dead date for us, and there was a lot of vocalization, a lot of conversation around dual credit, and we already had a portion of our kids that were choosing virtual that had to opt out of dual credit, so we knew that that was going to be a deficit. We went back in, had a conversation with Marvin Moak, and he and Dr. Basic, at the new president at Hines, really have shown up for our kids. So what we do now have the opportunity to do is dual credit for all of our kids online. So that's a big deal. And when you talk about kids that were making a decision at River City Early College to do our virtual at home, they were giving up large amounts of dual credit. Now they can still be on track for the graduation for their associate's degrees, which is huge.
Right.
In addition, all of our kids who are at home in our virtual solution will have to do that. Now, their solution is a synchronous solution, meaning they have to be logged in at the scheduled time on a virtual, and they will send those out. I think they're doing, I think they use Zoom. I'm not sure what Hines uses. All of ours will be Google Meeting. But anyway, that was a big deal, and I appreciate the hard work that Marvin and Dr. Basic did for our community there. Yep, big deal. And our CTE courses will also be allowed to be delivered through Grade Results. Grade Results has a dual credit CTE offering, and they're at Hines. They're even they're trying to see what it would take for the other campuses that Hines has to offer to be able to utilize what we already have in place. So with that, those are the big points of concern. I believe we have to have a delay. I just don't feel comfortable if we don't have them on hand, even though one of them we do have a definite on. Another one, we're just going to have to change our perspective of how we're going to meet the need, because apparently they don't make wipes in a can anymore. We've pushed that date back, and now we're at the point we're going to have another solution, and we do for those teachers to be able to hand out to the students as needed. The other, and again, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 orders that are here. They are in place. 16 that are here are in place and assembled at the building. So with that being said, the drop dead date, well, before you go to the options, the other thing, I don't know if anybody had the treat of listening to the executive order Facebook Live. It was a couple hours long, a lot of conversation in there about what the governor's executive order stated. Our executive order, as it relates to the Vicksburg Warren School District, the only thing that it did is it did mandate the wearing of masks. Now, with that word mandate the wearing of masks, there is a through J list of items that define places where kids don't have to wear masks and adults don't have to wear masks, and those kids, and which were the point of concerns that we had here originally with our statement about masks being strongly recommended. We knew that we had individuals with medical needs. We knew that there were sporting events. There were opportunities for kids that did not necessarily need them, and those circumstances are listed on there. So even though they're mandated masks, there are places within that executive order, and I'm not going to read it to you today, but just know that we're going to adjust all of our school start plans and the district plan to be updated with that. So that'll be in place. The couple of options I've got in front of you, the drop dead date that we have to is August 13th. That's the recommendation due to, it gives us a day if everything comes in. And I want to kind of restate this. Our plan was originally developed and those things change. We are in a world where things change daily. A lot of districts yesterday didn't have an order that they have today. In that, understand that as things change, there may be opportunities for us to have to come back in and change something else. I'm informing the board and the public as soon as we know what those updates are, and that's a disclaimer on the front end. So with that being said, please, God, don't write that, John. August the 13th is the absolute first day that we, based on the PPE schedule plan, that we would be able to have school if the PPEs arrive at the estimated date. That answer would, we could accommodate, we have 2 professional development days in the calendar, and we have 2 4-day weekends in the calendar. Those 2 4-day weekends, you got November the 2nd and January the 4th are PDs. We would move those to the beginning of the school year, and that, which means would be an adjustment for our students, but not necessarily be removing those days for the teachers, because they're already have those PD plans in there. In essence, it would also be adding an additional 2 days to the 4 days of the beginning of the year PD. And I know Kimball, at the last board meeting, that was one of the concerns he voiced, was making sure that we had adequate training, and he wanted all of our teachers to be masters at grade results. And of course, we've steadily been training for the last 3 days and getting everyone ready, but that would add an additional 2 days. The other thing we'd like to or point out in this particular option is you have that October holiday and you have that February holiday that's a 4-day. We could reduce those to a 3-day, move those to the beginning of the school, and then you would have 2 additional days, which would give us the opportunity to start students on August the 13th, which would mean our adults who work for us, who are on a 187-day contract. Our 240s, this doesn't adjust. I'm coming to work either way. But on the February, to remove those dates in the teacher's calendar would mean the adults would not work Friday, and they would not work Monday. Anybody that was scheduled to be off under those calendar days would then no longer work on those 2 days, and those 2 days would be taken earlier. And then you would have August the 7th and August the 10th, and then they would report on the 11th, which means teachers would come on the 11th, students would come on the 13th. Option 2, and option 2 has a start date of August the 17th. And it says it gives us extra 4 days to ensure that the PPEs have arrived. I would hate for us to make a decision and then have to turn around and have another one, which we can definitely do if that's what you want to do. But to give people the amount of time that they need to make plans, and we felt it fair to make this an option also. And then what you get the opportunity to do, it's the same 2 days additional for the staff, but you get an additional weekend in there. So what you have is an August 17th start would mean that we would move November the 2nd, January 4th, those are the 2 PD days, to the beginning of the school schedule. And those would adjust for teachers, and basically they would come back and have additional days at the beginning versus during the school year. And then we would remove both 4-day holidays from the calendar, which would move all of those days to the front, which would be 4 additional days plus the 2, which gives us 6 days, which puts the student start on the 17th. The adults would work tomorrow. They would be not working on Friday, and they would return to work on the 13th. So they would be out from the 7th to the 12th and return on the 13th, which is technically 4 days before the students get back. But it's 2 working days and that weekend. We feel as if the better option of the 2 would probably be the second one, because not only does it give you a little more time to make sure everything comes in, but you get the benefit of the 2 weekends, which actually doubles the amount of PPE time. So if there is another delay, it just gives us an opportunity to have a more definite start time. So in that, again, I believe we are, with the solutions from virtual, we are 100% ready. And I'll say it again, just like I say every board meeting we have about this, every student in Vicksburg Warren School District has the option of virtual learning today. Every single one of them. We are prepared for 100% of our students to stay at home. We are also preparing to have protective devices and structures in place if students choose to come. So in that solution, a parent gets that choice. Now that was based on 5,000 responses to suggestions in a thought exchange. Then we had 59,000 ratings. Let this sink in for a minute. 59,000 ratings on those thoughts. Inside those thoughts, that's what the plan was developed around. Then we put the plan that was developed around the input from teachers, all staff, students, parents. Now, we have people that didn't choose to participate, and we sent it out multiple times, multiple ways, publicized it, put it on Facebook, sent it out in school status to try to get as much information as we could. But that is the solution that we created. The day that we put it before y'all, that was the plan. Now circumstances have changed. I can't guarantee you 2 weeks from now things won't be different, because we're in a situation that we've never been in before. But we're going to be as positive as we possibly can and create every single solution for safety that's out there. I can't tell you how many hours and hours of data disaggregation, updates we get, and you'll find the same thing you'll find that we find. Some of that is conflicting. You'll have one department say something this week and then change their opinion the following week. But just know, as a district, we are constantly on top of those things, and we're making the best solutions. Our community wanted 2 solutions. Technically, you've got as many solutions as you like. Oftentimes I hear people or see people going, oh, I wish we could do it like so and such. You have the flexibility in our schedule to select days that you want to stay home. You have flexibility in our schedule days you want to be here, and all the mix in between. Because we understood this plan had to be flexible the day we created it, because we know that kids are going to show up with the virus. By statistical numbers, there's no way to say that's not going to happen. And we know there's going to be kids that will, just like Corinth or any of the other school districts who've already opened, that have to have a solution that's defined by the Mississippi Department of Health, and those quarantine days will be there. Our solution is, when you're out, you're online if you're healthy, so that you don't have delayed missing of school. And that will be in and out as we move. All this solution, again, is based on the best data that we have today. So those 2 options are absolutely there. I think the first option reserves a couple extra days. The next option, I think, not only do you get the additional 2 days, but you get the additional weekend. And if there is another delay that's needed for any particular reason, we don't have to come back in and do a special call board meeting for an extra couple of days. So are there any questions?
So what makes it clear, this is our best estimate based on everything arriving on time. It still gives us a buffer
Today.
today. And also that we stated this when we first approved the plan on July 11th, or whatever it was.
Correct.
That things change, and we are prepared to adapt to the needs.
Absolutely.
Ensure that we provide quality environment for our children to come to school if they choose to come.
That's correct.
As well as provide for their educational needs. But it is essential that everyone realize that we might have to make changes along the way as the environment changes, as equipment that was supposed to be here doesn't show up.
That's right.
Or that we get other executive orders that we may be required to change our plan.
That's correct.
I'd like to, Mr. President, if I could.
Yes, sir.
To the superintendent and your staff, I commend you on what you're doing, because, we don't know what tomorrow gonna bring.
Sure.
But if we gonna go into this with our teachers and our students, then we wanna make sure that we are ready as we can be.
Yes, sir.
And to see that we don't have this, and to give us the opportunity, I went through some of the buildings today, to even give those contractors a little more time. Because it's, when you got ladies going through those buildings and looking up and things, so I applaud you, and if the whole staff, because it's a team effort, and that's what it's, but since you've been here, I have to give you, from that first day, these kids come first.
Yes, sir.
And our faculty and staff.
That's right.
Make it as safe as they can be.
Well, and their safety is paramount. I mean, when you look at and I made no bones about it. I said that our start date and our solutions inside the building were going to be the best, and I believe they are, as long as our equipment and protective personnel, protective gear was here, and it's not at this point. So I can't allow anybody to come into a building that is, even by our own definition, as of today, and that may change, obviously, as CDC and Mississippi Department of Health makes recommendations. But again, I told you that from the beginning, and I take this very serious because I got 2 children in my house, and I know everybody up here has had kids come through. You got grandkids, and Sally still has, her child in the district. So it is definitely something that I feel comfortable making the recommendation for either one of these. But I think we get a little advantage for the extra weekend, which helps not only with the construction, but the custodial cleaning, and the PPEs, and gives them the time to get there. So
So your recommendation is not.
that's what I think. I think that would be the best solution.
So in front of you, you're gonna have option 1 and option 2 to impede the start of school. What is the choice of the board?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we accept option 2.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we use option 2, which instead of starting on August the 7th, we will start school hopefully on August the 17th.
Yes, sir.
There's a motion and a second. Are there any other questions? Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved.
And we'll get all of this, obviously, the paper's here, we'll make sure, John has what he needs to get it out, but we'll put all that on the website, and all of our social media connections, and identify and notify all of our staff, today. And thank y'all.
Make a motion.
Do we have any other? No other? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. We adjourn. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion is approved.